So this is a regularly scheduled hearing of the Zoning Board of Appeals. If you're not here for the Zoning Board of Appeals, leave. I feel like that's like Southwestern Airlines or something. Like, if you're not on flight 2022, please, if you could silence your cell phones. When you come up to the microphone, if you could state clearly your name for the record. So we need your name and any spelling, if it's an odd spelling. And we're only gonna hear two things tonight. So first, what we're gonna do is a postponement and continuation. Calendar number 17-2024, the application of the Water's Edge at Giovanni's at 2748 Boston Post Road. We're going to continue that until October. Woody?
Postpone.
We're going to postpone that, okay. Then the next thing, what we're going to do is open and continue calendar number 18-2024 on behalf of Gilbert and Anne Holmes to allow the construction of a second two-story addition at 12 Pratt Island. So that is opened and continued until October 16th.
Do you want to explain?
At the request of the applicants, we are going to give this another month. How official do you want me to do that? Yes. Can you, I'm sorry.
It's the neighbors.
You're the neighbors. Do you want me to say that on record?
It's the neighbors
Yes.
who asked for the.
Yeah, continuous, okay.
Hello, I'm Chad Nearing. It's not the applicant, it's the neighbors that are asking for a one.
The continuation, okay.
continuance,
But
And-
the applicant knows about this.
Well, yeah, I just let them know.
Okay.
Not happy. And October 16th, I am not here, so I spoke to Woody about that already, so it sounds like there might be October 23rd.
Okay. Are we doing 2 meetings in October?
We have 2 scheduled, so we'll have to see what we can do with the schedule. Otherwise, we'd have to go to November.
Yeah. Chad, thank you. We'll do the
Thank
best
you.
we can. I'm sorry about that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Want to ask the valuation question though, so that they're prepared to answer that?
Oh, that's a good point. Chad, when you guys come back, if, one of the things that staff is going to need some clarification on is the valuation for the appraisal purposes.
Yes.
So we don't have any details on that part.
Yeah, so we've uploaded that item today.
That's great.
That's
Thank
on-
you.
Yeah, so that's on the viewpoint.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you
Thanks.
very
Good-
much.
Good, thanks, Gary. All right. Okay, so we're on to our first applicant of the evening. This is the application of Patricia Gill and Gill Architects on behalf of Patrick and Ashley McManus for the property located at 18 Highland Avenue. This is calendar number 13-2024. Hi.
Hi. My name is Patricia Gill, Gill and Gill Architects. So,
I know, where's our stand?
Well, I can probably find. Rob, if you don't mind, could you look in the closet?
so this is a very odd-shaped corner lot, pushing most of the house that's already there into the secondary street setback.
And Patricia, we have this, that's okay. I know it's kind of small to see.
Right, so the house was built around 1900, and there's a garage on the property as well, built around 1930. And so we're hoping to put an addition on the back of the house, and there was a proposed addition 30 years ago about much larger, but also behind the house. That was approved, but just never built. So what we're doing now is a much scaled down version of that. And the reason it looks like a lot of variances, like for that previous one, it was a setback request. And we actually listed setbacks of the different portions of the addition.
Do you remember when this was was submitted? 2002? Does that sound right, Patricia, about 2002?
Yes.
I'm assuming, Woody, were the setbacks,
2000, it was filed in 2000.
and I'm sure we've changed the rules since 2000? No?
I don't think
Okay.
so. I think the setbacks. are
Same
set.
setbacks? Okay, keep going.
Okay, so the one additional thing is we're hoping to put a very small shed dormer at the attic level, just to put a bathroom up there, because there's 2 existing bedrooms and no bathroom. So that, because the shed dormer roof is relatively flat, that brings the height of the building up to be measured from that point instead of the normal point. So, of course, the shed dormer is not higher than the existing roof. So, you want me to talk about the garage, or should we concentrate on the house first?
Start with the house, and if you can just clearly define the hardships with the lot and what you're asking for, because it sounds like it's a
But I have
height.
to talk from here, not
Yes.
there.
Well, you could come up and point here. It's just hard to see this
Right.
anyways.
Right.
Do you guys all have printouts of this? Can you see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
I think we're okay if you don't use that, because we're all looking at hard
Okay.
copies.
So the way the side street angles in and then curves back out really cuts in, and then the measurement of the setback from the center line of that street, which isn't very wide, slices right through the middle of the house. So right now, there's a small kitchen, a small mudroom, there, narrow hallway, and we're trying to connect things better and give it more space for the growing family. So just going straight out a little bit, and then having a rear entry deck area to access it.
Can you explain, so we almost, in my tenure here, I can probably count on one hand the number of height variances we've given,
Okay.
and only under, very difficult circumstances. Can you explain the request for height variance here, and why, you briefly said something about a dormer to make a bathroom. Is there any way you could get the bathroom there without seeking a height variance?
No, without losing one of the rooms. There's really, because of the gambrel roof, it's all just right down the middle, 2 rooms and the stairs right in the middle. So there's no way to put a bathroom without, and it.
How many bathrooms are currently in the house?
3.
How many bedrooms?
So there's, 2.5 baths.
Two
There's
and a
2
half.
full and a powder room on the first floor.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to come up to the mic if you
Oh,
want to
sorry.
add any detail.
Okay.
It seems like you shouldn't have to, but you need to. Thank you. And you can state your
Ashley
name for the record.
McManus.
Say Ashley McManus, sorry.
So there's a powder room on the first floor, which we're trying to expand, which was what Patsy mentioned before. There's a full bath on the second floor, and then there's a full bath that was put in during the Murray's addition in 2003, I believe. That is on the second floor where the primary bedroom is. So there's 2 full baths and a powder.
And then there are 2 bedrooms on the 3rd floor?
Yes, so, there's 3 bedrooms on the second floor, small bedrooms, and we're trying to move 2 children up to the 3rd floor, and there's currently, our home is a 4-bedroom home. That's how we bought the home. So it's a 4-bedroom, so there's 1 legal bedroom on the 3rd floor. But there's,
Well, can you, see, I don't have the floor plan.
Yeah, we
in
don't
front
have
of
the
me.
plans to see.
You have it.
Yeah, what floor you want that?
The 4th floor. I'm just looking for options of again, height variances are rare.
This is the 3rd floor right here. So there's a study,
Right.
a bedroom, exercise area, new bath, height variance.
So you can't use the exercise area, the study, for the bathroom?
Well, we're trying to get two kids up there
To share.
to
yeah.
share a bathroom.
See, the problem is adding a bathroom isn't a hardship. Like, you don't need another bathroom in the house. So what we need to do is for us to justify any kind of variance, we need a hardship. So if there's any other space where you can put a bathroom on that floor, that's what we have to challenge. So what Gary's saying is if you look at this floor plan, I see the two bedrooms, but I also see this huge open area in the center. I know they don't maybe want to do
Hallway
that.
Where there's ceilings like this.
Okay, so that's the
There's
issue.
no legal headroom for a bathroom
Okay.
in that area. It's enough to get past.
So you can't design the shed any differently so that the calculation doesn't, so that you don't throw off the calculation?
I mean,
Because it's kind of a mathematical calculation as to where you measure the height. It's not the ridge line.
And the dormers can be on the north side, the non-street facing side
Yeah, in the
of the
back.
property, right in the back of the house, right? Not on the front of the house.
No, we're not really doing anything to the front.
Okay.
So is the existing height of the roof 31 feet? With the
You mean the ridge line?
interior, sorry, the ridge line, I guess is
Mhm.
31 feet, but the interior is 28.7? Is that what it currently is?
So it's be measured to the midpoint,
Okay,
not the ridge. The ridge
Right.
is staying the same height.
right.
But the midpoint is taken at this point now.
Because of the dormer, it throws off.
But now because this is a higher roof piece, and we have to measure it to up here.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if the maximum buildable height is 30 feet, correct?
Measured at the
At the
midline
mid.
of the roof,
At the midline.
not the ridge line.
Oh, the midline of the roof, okay.
So by throwing on a dormer, it changes the point of calculation, the
Okay.
point of measurement.
So Gary, my understanding is if this had just been a normal pitched roof, this would have been a different calculation because it's this, no?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It kind of
What do you-
depends.
Well, it's when you create a drip line eave.
Right.
So we have to use the highest eave wherever water drips off of some feature form and the ridge. So by injecting that form up there, you have a new essentially drip line eave that's considered there.
Curved roof going
Yes,
all the way
yes,
down.
there are
We would
alternatives.
create an eve, but it would not look.
There are alternatives that we've seen that are triangular, for instance, that are splayed, if you will, or, semicircular.
I mean, I'm
This is
just-
a drip line eave.
Even though this is the back, I'm concerned with other people coming in and, I mean, like, I have to tell you, even down at the bay, when people were lifting their homes because of FEMA flood, in my recollection, that's the only time we gave a height variance, was in a FEMA flood zone, where people wanted to lift their homes out of the flood zone.
Yeah.
Because to your point, that was a necessary safety issue,
Right,
which was the hardship that we found.
yeah. This is a tough one,
I'm
Patricia.
just an opinion of
Yeah.
one, but I have a difficult time. Even if it's not an aesthetic thing, because it's in the back of the house.
It looks great, the plan.
Okay.
So do you want to move on to the garage and talk
Sure.
about that one?
Sure. Then we can deliberate that.
Okay.
Unless there's more you can add about the bathroom that gives us comfort, let's go to the garage.
Well, it's just a matter of updating the house to,
So you're saying you could not use the exercise room that's on that?
well, you can, and then go downstairs and around the corner, down the hall to the nearest bathroom.
Oh, that's not on the exercise room is not on the same level as the bedrooms?
Is it not that there's a bedroom, and an exercise room in the middle? That's what we see on this plan. No?
It's an exercise room.
Well,
Well, it's a.
that's what it
Exercise
says.
area.
Yeah.
That's true. There's an exercise bike sitting there.
But my point is, so there are all kinds of scenarios where there's a
This is
Jack and Jill.
all- Right, there's a Jack and Jill sort of situation. This is all low headroom here.
So I'm sorry, the place in the floor plan that says exercise area does not have the headroom for a bathroom?
It's this triangular space here.
That does answer my question.
There's no headroom.
Where the exercise area has no headroom?
Well, there's an exercise bike sort of next to the railing of the stairs. So I probably shouldn't have called it that, but that's what they use for an exercise area.
And you don't know the internal height of the ceiling there? I mean, we're just trying to evaluate alternatives where you can get your bathroom up there without seeking a variance.
Well, it's like 5 feet halfway down and goes down to
A knee wall.
the knee wall.
Okay.
I just don't feel like I don't have a sense of what the layout is. I mean, we're kind of working with partial information.
Okay.
What layout?
Upstairs. I mean, we're trying to understand the floor plan upstairs so we can eliminate, if we can conclude that there are no other options up there, then we can feel more comfortable moving towards a height variance, but we just don't ever do them. And we don't do them because, you start doing stuff like that, and then all of a sudden there's a precedent in the entire town to change roof lines and height. There's a good reason why we keep them where they keep them. So we can't really draw, I mean, we're all looking at the plans, but there's nothing that shows the height at that area. You coming up with anything? John reads plans for a living, so I'm looking at him.
There were photos online of before, and it showed it with yoga mats. You can kind of tell that it is definitely
Low.
it's a low ceiling, but I can't say what height it is. I just know they had yoga mats.
Yeah.
I mean,
You do a warrior pose. But
Exactly, but you can't, yeah.
this strip down the middle is about 7 feet, flat ceiling, 7 feet, and then it just goes down to.
And you're proposing the dormer to be an 8-foot?
Good question.
I don't think it's fully 8 feet.
And what's the headroom in these bedrooms up
That's what I
there?
mean, if there's not enough headroom for a legal bedroom, a legal bathroom, how are those legal bedrooms?
Well, it's 7 feet of ceiling in this middle section,
Right, so that's the same,
About 5
that's the
feet
same
wide.
ridge line, that's a Jack
and
and Jill
then it
bathroom.
slopes down.
That's what I'm thinking.
And that's the minimum that you're required to have for a bedroom. A legal bedroom is 7 feet width. Anyway,
Okay.
Do you have anything? Do you want to move on to the garage?
Mr. Chairman, maybe
Yeah.
before you do, there's 2 or 3 other features in the house that are proposed. A second-story dormer, a 1-story addition, and then I guess a new deck and stairs. All of those features are also in the setback with separate variance requests.
So my view of those, and we can do the deliberation, is I see hardships in those because of where the house is and how small the buildable area is.
Right.
And the fact that it's in that strange corner lot.
Well, there's definitely a hardship on the lot, so,
yeah, and this part I think is as of right. So it was this piece and then the 1-story kitchen mudroom extension that cut the setback line.
so how much are you adding in the setback? So there's a big chunk of this house that's in the setback, I understand, because it's a non-conforming lot.
Yeah.
But this isn't.
No.
And this isn't. No. And this isn't.
So where's the dormer on that?
There's-
In the non-conforming space?
Well,
It
the
is.
dormer that they're talking about is in
Yeah.
the conforming space, but it's a height. Okay.
No.
Well,
No, that's the attic.
It's
it
this one.
spans
You
both,
see this one right
Gary.
here?
Oh,
Expands.
that's the other one.
Right.
It spans both.
So it's
So
a
it's all,
height and
yeah,
setback.
yeah.
Oh, that's there.
Right.
Oh, that's
Or
in the
is it
same.
that? I think it's actually that
It's
one.
right,
Okay.
it's
Still same
this
thing.
one right here.
Yeah.
That's in both. The buildable
Mhm.
area cuts through right there. So it's a height and it's a setback. The dormer we were just talking about.
Patricia, what is the hardship then for the additional, the dormer on the second floor? I just want you to state it for the record, what the hardship is.
Well, the hardship is that under normal circumstances in the normal lot, all of this would be fine. I mean, it's not, we're not extending out beyond the footprint. The footprint is there. We're just building over existing house.
Okay. Woody,
Mm-hmm.
did we address enough, everything with the?
But here, is this here is new.
You have a proposed one-story addition
The
that's
proposed
all
one-story
one.
addition
Mhm.
and deck is new footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely in the setback.
Well, the proposed one-story addition is in the setback. The rest of it
Is
appears
that-
to be in the buildable
Is that correct?
area.
Yeah, there's an existing small deck and steps in that same spot.
And so what's going in that location, the proposed one-story addition?
The kitchen and then the extension.
What is the existing square footage of the house?
The whole house.
2,800.
And then the new, this would be how much?
According to this, it looks like there's 356 cubic feet of volume in the setback that is being proposed. So the variance isn't increasing the nonconformity of the side yard, but it is adding 350 feet.
Because it's enclosing this area,
Mhm.
the kitchen and bedroom.
I'm not sure I agree with that it's not increasing the non-conformity.
I don't know that I agree with that
It is,
either.
right?
The
Well,
second,
volume side.
the second story though is in the buildable area, so that one is not one we
Correct.
need to
Yeah, that's
consider. It's just the one-story addition that would be the extra volume, and then if you went with the dormer, that would also be the increase.
So I'm confused. So the second floor dormer is not an issue, then why is that being
No, it
presented?
No, it
It
is, it
is.
is, it is.
It is.
Okay.
There's an addition in the back here.
Yes.
That is going up over existing one story, that is completely as of right.
Okay.
No question.
All right,
Then you've got one piece, two piece, three pieces. That is setback issues, plus a height issue. So 4 issues there, and then the garage issue. So 5, should be 5, is it 5 total? Is that right?
I think so.
So
it's not spelled out very
Well, it
clearly.
depends
I'm
if you
confused.
count 1, 2,
1,
3, 4.
3, 4,
I count 5.
yeah, I don't, there's a lot going on here.
Okay, is there anything that hasn't been addressed that we haven't talked about?
Well,
The garage.
The garage. Oh, then, outside of the house, we've got everything on the house. Okay, let's talk about the garage. So you want to,
Rebuild on basically the same footprint.
why is
The
that?
garage, the existing garage is falling apart. I didn't even feel safe going in there to measure. There's plants growing through the plate, the 2x4 wall plate that is deteriorating. But, you know, and the whole thing is racking, the windows. Anyway, so the whole thing is in pretty dangerous condition. So we're hoping to, I mean, we can't even reuse the foundation because it's old hollow cinder blocks and I doubt they'll go down very far. So anyway, we wanted to rebuild in basically the same footprint, making it slightly wider and slightly deeper just to
how much wider, how much deeper?
fit. 18 inches of width.
Are you guessing or are you
For
telling us?
structure. No, it's all on there. It's all on there. 20 feet 4 wide, and we're going to 22 feet 6, so that is 2 feet 2 inches. The
I don't think we
existing
have these
depth,
plans.
21 feet.
I don't have that plan.
I don't, Woody, do we get this plan? Did you see this plan?
The garage.
The garage
Yeah, I
one?
believe so. Isn't
No,
that
we-
included?
I think we do have it.
Okay. Fine, I was thinking.
When there?
Wait, let me double check.
On the residence drawings.
I don't have the garage either.
I didn't get that.
I made this separate from the garage draw, the garage drawings, although we submitted the existing and the proposed.
No, I'm wrong. I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't,
So the width is going from 20 feet 4 inches to 22 6,
Yeah.
and then what's the length?
21 feet, the existing one is 21 foot 3, and over here it's 19 foot 9, has a little jog on the back.
So you're squaring it, okay.
And this back portion is too close to the yard line, so we're shifting it so it complies
Okay.
on the back. It's where you-
And what is the distance to the property line? If you said you're bringing it into more compliance, it's
I think it's
5 feet?
5 feet?
5 foot requirement, and it's sort of askew now.
So,
some
but
of
you're
it's
gonna-
closer,
are you
so
gonna-
we're putting it at 5 feet.
You're going to maintain the 5-foot distance?
Yes.
But the reason why you need a variance is because the entire structure is not in the buildable area.
Right.
Okay. And you're rebuilding, you're not using any of the current because it's not sound. You're going to rebuild it and seek to extend it by 2.5 feet. Okay.
Just to understand the way that it's laid out on the street, Academy Street does not continue, correct? Or is it a dead end, or is
No,
it?
it goes and it curves, it jogs over and it goes back and connects to another street.
It does, okay. So right now, when you go out of the driveway, where's the drawing that has the street on it? So when you go out of the driveway, I'm turned around here. Oh, okay.
It goes
How
out
do
to
you,
Academy.
okay, how do you see around this, I guess?
it's very confusing. When I drove down there,
I
thought-
only
thought
went
was
this
gonna
way, and I
have
thought
to
it was a
back-
dead
I thought I
end.
was gonna have to back out of there.
Okay.
I wasn't even sure there was a turn there. yeah.
Same, okay, so it goes on, so do people come this way?
Mm-hmm.
That seems kind of dangerous
Mhm.
to me. I'm just,
Well, the garage has been there since
The garage has been there.
1930.
okay.
Okay.
It's not a very heavily traveled little street.
Okay.
Okay.
And we are raising it up a little bit. Just to get the proper structure, right now it's just a mishmash of sagging things. And so, like right now, there's barely any wall at all.
And the issue with moving the garage, I think if I read it in the write-up, is that then you're basically taking away the yard over here for if you were to put the garage
Yes.
behind the house?
And adding a lot of pavement access to get over there. And then there's trees back there that we would have to tear down.
But this would then become yard, I presume?
It could, it's not, there's a big row of bushes there. You can't really see that whole area
Oh,
from the
is that
house.
They grow
pictures?
onto the
So it would be not, I mean,
They're growing into the garage.
Okay, so, but there would be room for the garage in the buildable area, is that right?
physically, there would be room.
Physically, there would be
It would be
room.
looking out of your house at a little bit of grass and then a garage and pavement.
Okay.
There's no way that the garage can be salvaged as it is there right now? Through some reinforcement and some refinishing, there's no way?
I don't see any piece of wood that's really salvageable. It's leaking, one side is like in the dirt. There's all these things growing through at the plate, also at the eave of the roof.
And the foundation is not salvageable either.
No, I don't.
There is no foundation, right? There's neighbor support for this? Did you want to, Ashley, did you or your husband want to talk about neighbor support?
The neighbor right behind the issue and letting us support, it's in the file.
Yep. Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to comment on this application? Okay, we will move on to deliberation. So we have one other one to hear. We're going to move on. You can leave them there. That's fine. Yeah, you can take them or.
It'd be good to leave them there, yeah.
Then we can study them better. I'm sorry, I lost my calendar. Okay. We skipped Pratt. Okay, right. Okay, so now we're moving on to calendar number 19-2024. Raul and Alina Berglund Scherwitzel for the property located at 86 Delafield Island Road. This is to allow the construction of a 2-story addition.
Ready?
Ready, thank you.
Hi, Rob Metzger, architect with Neil Houck Architects, presenting on behalf of Raul and Alina. Raul and Alina recently purchased the property 86 Delafield Island Road. It's an older house built in 1930. They want to make alterations to make the house practical for modern living. Perhaps the most critical of those changes would be making the home function well. To make the home function well is providing an enclosed connection between the existing parking area and garage at the lower level and the mudroom and kitchen entrance to the house on the first floor. To that end, we're seeking a variance to section 406, which is the side yard setback requirement. The house is located against the side yard setback on the eastern side of the property, where the garage and parking area are currently connected to the first floor with an exterior stair that's existing. That stair is really not safe or practical in inclement weather, and our variance request is to rebuild and enclose the stair on the existing footprint. The current location of the house as it relates to the side yard setback line and the unusual presence of a cast-in-place concrete floor slab at the first floor level leave the location of the existing stair as the only practical option to establish this critical connection. We believe that the request is modest and that it only asks to enclose 356 cubic feet of volume and that it doesn't increase the existing nonconformity in plan. I'd like to refer to this exhibit here, which really shows, I think, effectively what we're asking for here. You can see the side yard setback line cuts diagonally through the existing stair footprint. Again, there's an existing exterior stair, which is shown in red here. The square footage in plan of the existing stair that is in the setback is 35.7 square feet. So what we would propose is to rebuild this stair as an enclosed stair. So what you see in orange is actually the volume that we're requesting to add, which comes to 356 cubic feet of volume.
So it's really that area, if you look at the drawing to the left of where you were just pointing, it's that area, you're gonna have a window there.
Correct. This would be the landing at the top of the stairs. You would descend the stairs. And actually,
And is there,
once you hit this point, you're no longer in the required side yard. So,
Is there an existing door there now?
sorry.
So there's an existing staircase there now, right?
There is. It's exterior.
Correct.
You can either park in the garage, exit the garage, and go up the stair to the first floor kitchen.
Okay.
Or you can, park in the parking area and go up the stairs to the first floor
so
kitchen.
if you go to the drawing on the upper left, at the top, there's a landing and a door,
Correct.
and you're enclosing that landing.
That's what we're asking for. Correct.
Is there an existing awning above that door now?
There is not.
There's nothing there.
There's
Okay.
nothing there. Yep.
And the hardship?
Well, I would say that the hardship is that, we're bound by the location of the house as it relates to the existing setback line. And there's not really a practical way to make this what we feel is a critical connection between garage, this is your everyday, you park the car, you enter into the house, it's arguably the most important connection for your everyday living. And there's no real effective way to make that connection that's conforming. And I have another exhibit where I'll show some other
So you can't
options.
put the stairway inside of the garage
Correct.
up and go upstairs?
Correct.
Well, but you can still do that vestibule that's there at the bottom, and then you just have to exit, instead of going out of the garage, you go through the vestibule right into the stairs and you go up, but it's not covered right now.
Yes, that's correct.
The lower level plan,
Mhm.
is there, it says passage, and then it looks like there's a staircase.
There is a staircase currently that winds you up to the formal foyer of the house, yes.
So there's a staircase that takes you from the garage to,
It's that.
So that staircase empties out here, adjacent to the front door.
okay. And you're saying that if you went through that way, you'd have to come back through the dining room?
You'd basically be walking through the entire house twice, once to get to the stair and then once to get back to the mudroom, correct?
Okay.
The garage is under the kitchen.
Correct.
Can you flip to that page again?
So you can go up the stair to the right, up through the front door, or the uncovered exterior stair by exiting the garage and going out.
That's correct.
What other work is being done in the house to, as you say, modernize it?
Yeah, you can see the dark poche is new, the light poche is existing. We're trying to give the house a facelift, make it more attractive. Some of the spaces will remain largely as is in footprint. We are also proposing to reframe the roof. It has a bit of a shallow pitch now. We actually want to lower the plate height in the front so that you see more roof to the front. And you know, this elevation currently presents as quite a sort of towering three-story facade without any breaks. So we are proposing to lower the break line on the front of this piece here, extend the garage out slightly. It's not even deep enough for SUVs currently. And put a little shed roof above the doors. That's all conforming.
Yeah, because the setback line is on the
Mhm.
left-hand side.
Can you talk about the slab issue a little
Yeah,
bit?
sure. And one of the staff questions was whether or not it would be possible to cut through that slab. I'd had a conversation with David Seymour, our structural engineer, and basically no engineer is going to want to go near that. There's, you know, it's almost impossible to evaluate an existing poured-in-place concrete slab because you don't know what reinforcement is in it. And he basically said, if we wanted to cut a big hole in that slab, you'd be talking about basically demoing the whole first floor slab and reframing it. And that kind of defeats the idea that we're really trying to save this house.
How far does this slab extend into the house?
So,
Isn't it just in that
just,
wing?
these are very deep poured-in-place beams and a poured-in-place concrete ceiling that spans over the entire
So that's the garage right there,
That
right?
is, yeah, exactly. And Woody, it's my belief, I don't want to say this for sure, that the slab extends, I know for certain it extends over the two-car garage and this space under the unfinished space under the family room above. I also believe that it extends over these three rooms here.
So the bottom of those beams are basically in line with parking spaces, right?
Correct.
And they're pretty low. Can you get a car below those
No,
concrete beams?
So we're trying to work with what's there, so if you'll take a look at the plan here.
It's pretty high, his head is.
I can't tell.
My car's taller than I am.
I'm short.
We don't know how tall he is.
I didn't print
It
a
could be
separate
perspective,
copy.
but it looks like there's a bunch of space.
So you can actually see that we're proposing to keep two concrete piers that are here that support the termination of these two beams. We're proposing to add a little bump out in front, which will just be conventionally framed back to the slab.
You're removing those beams?
No, certainly not. Yeah, the whole idea is that we're going to try and keep them. And we're gonna keep 2 parking spots, the right and center spot, and we'll actually take the leftmost spot and frame a little vestibule in there that will allow you to enter into the garage, either from the parking area or from the 2-car garage, and then ascend the stairs.
So you could kill one of the garage bays and do all this, yes?
That's what we've done, actually,
Essentially.
just to get the vestibule.
But you couldn't move the stairs in there as well?
No, because the slab extends over this entire,
You'd have to cut the slab
Cut
to
the
get
slab and
access.
So there's a structural issue with that?
there is a
Okay.
structural issue with that.
Which is basically what you guys just said. I'm sorry, I'm repeating it, okay? Okay.
What does the engineer letter, did you submit that?
I did, Woody, I uploaded it today to the viewpoint. It
Basically gonna
yeah.
add steel beams to an opening.
Yeah, they have to reinforce it, it looks like, yeah.
He basically said he doesn't want to go there because it's just impossible to know what the composition of the beams and the slab is.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
No, they're sturdy. He doesn't want to cut into them.
I know.
Yeah, so you can imagine
Why
this
ruin
was
a good thing?
Reinforced.
This was
Why
actually
ruin a
all
good thing?
poured in one pour. It's integral beams and a slab. And so there will be a tremendous amount of rebar in here that will actually go in from the slab into the beams, beam into the slab. And when you start to cut into that, it can, it's without knowing what the rebar is, and you can do things like, I mean, I even talked to David about, you can x-ray the slab and, see where the rebar is. But even then, he was saying you don't know where in the depth of the slab it is, what size it really is. There's a lot of unknowns.
So the only thing you're really increasing is 356 cubic feet, but you are enclosing it fully. It's all enclosed. I mean, because we could just do,
How's this
to your
different
point.
than a porch that we usually?
I know, and that's what I'm thinking. I think that's what Gary was kind of suggesting.
Right.
It's an enclosed porch in the setback.
Because if it's really bad weather,
It's a safety issue.
you can stay inside.
Yeah, I suppose you could make an argument that you could put a covered roof over that. Then you'd be entering and then, exiting back outside, which is a little odd. And yeah, I would argue that there's a safety issue there. that
Well, no, you would
lights
still,
up.
you would still do the vestibule, right? And then go in from the garage and then go, I guess
You want-
anytime we have a porch, which essentially this is, it's not exactly the same, we never allow.
We don't
Fully
allow
enclosed.
it.
We
Not
never
fully.
allow fully enclosed, and we totally understand the safety aspect of it and covering it and allowing that in the setback, but this is essentially the same thing, which is pretty long. I haven't been here as long as you guys, but
I
pretty
know.
long standing.
But that, especially since there's the other staircase. That you pointed
Well, but
out.
it's so far from, I know, it's an inconvenience, but it's not a hardship.
Depends on, right.
Depends how you look
The
at it.
weather is really bad, no one goes outside.
Mhm. Okay, sounds like,
Again.
did you want to say something?
Yes,
If
please.
you could just state your name for the record, please?
Yes, Emily Lyons, 87 Delafield Island Road. So basically, I live across the street from this monolith. And the idea that they're going to extend it on one side isn't necessarily an attractive idea to me, but I'm not really familiar with cubic feet. How many more additional feet would there be to the left?
We're not proposing to change the footprint at all, actually.
You're not?
Yeah, it will,
Okay.
it will only be, let me check.
But they're enclosing the staircase, so you'll
Right.
see
Yeah.
more structure.
Right, I know, there's a lot of structure.
So if you get rid of that staircase altogether, it just means you have to go outside over up.
You're just covering it.
Yes, the idea is that
Okay.
you would basically
I don't
create
think they're big, they don't have to get rid of it
one
because
Excuse me.
it's just whether or not they can
Right.
enclose it.
basement.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry.
we have to
Oh,
make
sorry.
the presentation to the board.
Sure, I was just trying to explain that, yes, the idea is that you would not extend the footprint at all. You would just enclose the footprint that exists.
Okay. From our perspective across the street, that open staircase gives us just a little bit of light and view and so on back there. And candidly speaking, we are not trying to block this because frankly, I don't think that the stairs show quite how steep they are. And Mrs. Peoples, who's now deceased, used to go down those steps backwards in the winter. And I used to watch her go down the steps because I worried about it. What I'm looking for is a little relief in that this picture does not show the vegetation to the left all enclosing. So with the vegetation all enclosing and now an enclosed staircase, I've got a wall in front of my house. So I'm not refuting the stairs because honestly speaking, having lived there for a while, I think it is a safety issue. And I can say that because I'm not an interested party. But if they could possibly trim the trees back to the edge just to give me some relief, I would appreciate it. But I'm honestly not sure that the pictures, if you haven't seen it, show what a dangerous staircase this is. And that's all I'll say. I'm just looking for some relief. And the idea that you're going to drop the front is at least something.
I hope that would appeal to you.
Maybe you'll change the color of the house. It's like
I'm not sure.
omnipresent.
I'm not sure if you had a chance to see the what we proposed. Happy to show you.
Can you show that to the board as well?
Yeah, we gotta do that again. It has to be to the board. If you guys wanna review the plans out in the hallway later, that's great.
Pardon me? Oh, afterwards? Yes, I understand. Your time is valuable, and I know you all volunteer.
It's more that we just have to get it on the record, what you're showing her.
Oh, I've got
So you
it.
can walk around and look if you'd
Okay.
like. Or I guess you can move those
Can you
back.
show was it a photo that you showed?
Yes.
No, that's not of the, flip a couple of pages back from that. Because that has the staircase. You're not proposing to change. The neighbor talked about, leave that exactly
Yeah.
there.
So if you
The neighbor talked about this pitch of the stair. The stairs are kind of
Legal.
fine pitch, legal,
I
what you would do.
agree, yeah, but I think the fact that they're exposed to the elements is,
Mrs. Peoples was in her 80s. It's really not a, But this has changed. The vegetation comes way over. And frankly, the staircase gives us just a little opening to sort of have some sky and so on. But I'm just asking for some relief. I'm not challenging what they're trying to do because honestly speaking, I think it's a safety issue. So, that's
Thank
all.
you. Is your client here?
no, I
Okay.
think they're watching.
They're watching, okay. Would you like to speak on their behalf as to whether or not they would make that concession with the landscaping?
You know, I think that they would be willing to do that, yes. Yeah. If that's the condition of you granting the variance, I will say yes.
Okay.
I actually took a photograph. So this is.
We'd love to take neighbors' comments into consideration.
Sure.
Um,
This is a photograph that shows when you're standing on the landing, looking back, this is that evergreen. And it is dense and tall, so I think it could stand to be trimmed back some.
Okay.
And trimmed from
I'm
west
sorry,
to
you're going to have to
east.
come up again, sorry.
West to east,
West to east, okay.
and height.
They'll be willing to do that.
But, excuse me.
Yeah, I need it on the record.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When I saw Mrs. Peoples coming down the stairs, frankly speaking, I used to watch and wait and make sure she came down because she went down backwards. And I'm not sure sitting at this meeting that you understand the topography enough to know what a pain in the derriere it would be to come in the front door and go over there and go upstairs. So that's all I really have to say.
Your comment about the landscaping, if you could put your request on the record. You were thinking west to east?
Yes, I would appreciate it if the new owners would cut the undergrowth and the trees back from west to east to open up a vista so we're not blocked all the time by this monolith
Okay.
in height as well as direction, but particularly direction. We
Okay.
would appreciate that, but I don't think it's a huge change on the property. And my husband and I both think it's a safety issue. So that's my only
Thank you for attending.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard on this application? You're holding your peace. Okay, holding your peace. Anything else we need to know?
Well, yeah, I would just like to point out that we did explore other options for how this might be positioned. You can't really put it behind the garage. It would have to be a switchback stair at that point, and that's either more non-conforming. A straight run stair doesn't work because it wouldn't empty or exit into the house either at the top or bottom. Straight run stair at the front doesn't work. It would basically block 2 of the garage bays, and a switchback stair at the front also doesn't work because it really would clamp down and kind of make the driveway unworkable.
Boy, I love that you outlined that for us. Good, right? Because that's what I question. Where else can you put that thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would argue nowhere. We have an existing footprint. I think that's the logical spot.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Woody, any questions from you?
No.
Okay.
Thank you
That
very much.
concludes the hearing. Thank you. So we are now concluded, and we're going to move into deliberations. You're welcome to stay. Let's go backwards, actually. Let's start with this one. Since you guys are here, then we can get you out of here.
So I think the analogy, by the way, of a front portico
Is the way.
is that you would cover the whole, not just the landing on top, you'd cover, if you wanted to be safe, you'd cover the run of the stairs. That's not a bad analogy, but you wouldn't be enclosed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing this as the same thing.
So-
I get the safety issue, especially with the neighbor bringing up,
I know.
I just,
It is big. It's a looming property. You're adding more coverage.
Well, not more coverage, but
More,
more
well,
volume.
I'm sorry, more volume.
Yeah.
in the-
well, they are, just not in the setback.
Yeah.
Because this is all new stuff that they're doing, but that's all okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's all fine.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I agree. I can see both sides here, for sure. I'm sympathetic to the safety issue, I guess. If we think it's gonna make it more safe, then probably lean that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure where else they put stairs. I mean, I get it, that you
I
could go
don't
up
think
the
there are other
front.
places to put stairs other than going through the existing garage basement upstairs.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I get it. You could probably, I don't know if you could, but I wouldn't want to touch that slab.
I don't know, right, but I'm saying there already is that
It's
stair.
there already. I'm just, I can't see how this is any different than the front stoop being covered. And we never allow that to be enclosed. That's just but, add a roof,
Aesthetically, is that
add
good?
whatever. I'm sure they can make it look fine. I agree, it needs a new paint color, but,
What do you think, Janet?
I'm struggling with the fact that there's already an internal staircase. I mean, I know it's not conveniently located, but I'm like, it's not that there's no internal staircase, it's just not convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm struggling. I'm sympathetic. I hate the cold, I hate bad weather, like long walks, not fun. But that's where I'm stuck.
So for me, it comes down to, I agree that technically we should deny it, but I think for a combination of safety reasons, the convenience issue, that's too bad. I mean, that's not a hardship. We deny things all the time for a lack of convenience. But I think safety, and I think if they were willing to stipulate or make the concession for the neighbor, I thought the neighbor's comments were appropriate and thoughtful. So in my mind, that weighs. If she had not said that, I probably wouldn't have felt that way about it. But if they were to open up that space, I think it, aesthetically speaking, I think it's a good, what they've designed is beautiful. I mean, I don't like the idea of putting some.
yeah.
So are you
Yeah.
talking about just a covering over the stairs?
Yeah, it's a whole wall. It's like they're gonna cover the stairs, they're gonna make a landing, cover the stairs, and then there's a landing at the top, and it's all glassed in. Did you see the
But
pictures?
so are we
Well, it's
saying
more
that we're
than that.
comfortable?
It's glassed in.
Are we saying that we're going with the porch idea, that it's just going to be a covering but not enclosed?
They're asking for it to be enclosed, and
Okay.
John's making the argument that technically, if this is one of the things you normally would approve, we wouldn't enclose it, we would just allowed them to add some kind of covering.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to visualize, what does that look like, since it's a long staircase, it's not
Yeah.
a porch. So I just don't understand exactly, it's hard for me to visualize what that looks like.
Like the trains, like Norotan Heights.
Yeah, exactly.
That aesthetically, I just don't see how that's aesthetically like.
It's
that-
not.
I don't,
But we're not supposed to make decisions aesthetically.
No.
But
right.
the other thing, by the way, one thing with, only a portion of the stairs are in the setback.
Right.
This isn't a full,
Less than half.
You cannot speak during
less than
deliberation.
half.
that's true.
356 cubic feet, right, so you can see the line where it cuts. It's like, actually goes right through the stairs. You see, do you see the line in your?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah,
So it's
so,
not a full,
full ask.
The whole.
you're not bringing a whole
Yeah.
slab of whatever, 8x5 or more, coming
Mhm.
forward into the setback line on your front door. I could be persuaded that if they do, that it is an improvement to the neighborhood if they open up the vegetation on the left now. Trees continue to grow, and that might be a short-term fix.
How would we?
We have no enforcement of that.
How would we enforce?
No
Some
enforcement.
rule about view vegetation. Enforcement is a challenge.
Those are there for screening, so you're still going to want screening from your neighbor that's basically right next to
Mhm.
you. So I don't know how you.
Right.
there's
That I
def-
can't picture. I
definitely
mean-
screening.
And no one has the right for view easement. I mean, I assume there's no view easement, so
For what it's worth, the house you're facing the house that's to the left.
impacted, yeah.
They are, but the houses are offset
Yeah.
quite a bit. So
Right.
the other one's far forward, it's far back, and so it's actually kind of works with how the
Right, so I was
laws
thinking about
land.
that because if you're gonna have internal lighting in the staircase and windows facing
The back.
the house that you're referring to without impacting them. Look, I could be persuaded that it's a minimum adjustment, given the fact that it's not the whole staircase, it's already there.
Just so that you
Oh, no, you,
know.
sorry, you can't,
No,
it's,
not.
we're deliberation, sorry.
Okay, you're right.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll go again. I'll move to approve with the stipulations that the vegetation is maintained.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
I'm concerned about how we would do that, but I would leave that to the neighbors to be,
You know, we're gonna talk later about enforcement issues.
yes,
but
we
that,
are.
You know, to allow, I don't know,
An opening?
it's 20 feet, but serves a screening purpose.
Yeah.
So you don't want to open it 10 feet, you want to keep the screening there.
Well, if you're blocking in the stairs and there's some light from that, maybe you accommodate another 4
5
foot.
feet?
That's what I was thinking, something equivalent to the stair opening that must remain open for light. I mean, we're kind of
How
spitballing
do
here,
we,
but
how does that get?
I don't
And
know
this
how
goes
you-
back to the other issue that we're gonna come
Yeah,
back to.
Exactly, how
How do you write that on paper that it actually is?
I don't know.
enforceable?
I don't think
I
we
don't know, all I can think of is there's been a couple times when we've required that there be some screening plan that's developed in agreement with the adjacent owner. And that was to screen an addition.
That was to add
As
screening.
opposed to open up.
Right.
I don't know how far you open up, but I guess you could
Yeah,
stipulate.
the only thing
that there
I'm
needs to
struggling,
be
like,
a-
no one has a view easement, unless you
Right.
actually have a view easement.
Right.
Mhm.
And this monolith idea, it was built as of right, including, they could put a wall up at that front part of the house, because it's not in the setback.
That's right. Well, they're coming out at the garages, so. But your
Yeah,
point is, you can do whatever you want, it's not in the setback. I'm going to second Gary, and also with the stipulation that they accommodate the neighbors by opening up some space,
fine.
but it's hard to, I know it's hard to
fine.
enforce, but I'll second it.
That's fine.
Can you talk about that a little more to help me
No.
out here?
I know,
Woody will figure it out.
I try, but.
I mean, I don't really want to make it conditional on them submitting some some landscaping plan, I don't know.
Well, you could, that's been
No, I
done.
think you maintain the branches of the trees no less than 4 feet from the enclosure of the staircase.
You do what? You
4
maintain
feet.
an opening?
Yes.
Opening of at least 4 feet from the enclosed staircase.
Okay.
Woody seems enthusiastic.
Mhm.
Yes, I like that. I mean, it's something.
We're gonna give Woody a chainsaw to.
So I've seconded it. Where's everybody else?
This would be what, in cooperation with that across the street neighbor? Is that the idea?
It's an accommodation for the across
Yeah,
the
it's
street.
a combination, but
Just an
it's a
accommodation.
maintenance of no less than 4 feet.
It's not something we can enforce. Gary's right. I mean, it's,
An open view, a non-vegetated
Yes, I don't-
space?
Yes.
Yeah, non-vegetative space. I don't want to talk about a view because I don't want to create a view easement.
mhm.
I don't think we have that. Don't
Okay.
create a view easement.
Take a shot at it. We might have to share the language.
That's fine. Okay, so you have a
Okay.
motion by,
And we have a second.
All in favor?
All in favor? All opposed?
Okay.
Oh, that's 5. Okay. All right.
all right.
Okay, so now let's move on to Highland, which is a little more tricky. I think there are 5 issues here. I guess we should break these up one at a time. Let's start on the 3rd floor with that bathroom. I am not convinced that there is not a place to put that bathroom. I mean, there's nothing she said. It was just massive confusion to me.
I don't think the architect helped
No,
us get there.
not at all.
And I wish she would have said, look, I'll, whatever, I'll come back with more explanation because I don't know how we approve this.
I don't know that. I mean, there's really nothing here.
What is the minimum height in a bathroom? Is it more than a bedroom?
No.
Because
But-
couldn't you just
but I'll
turn
tell you,
one of
but
those
there-
bedrooms into a bathroom?
I mean, not to get personal, but parts of my bathroom have sloped,
Yes.
Right.
right? Because you often put the toilet kind of in a
Right.
sloped and then the
Yes.
shower maybe, and then actually my shower has slope too. So you don't need 7 foot of rectangular space.
Right.
And I don't understand this volume here.
I couldn't get there. I just don't have any numbers to work with. I don't have, John, I mean, you're the
We
builder. What do
almost
you
need a
think?
field trip
I think,
Yeah.
I think a bathroom could fit up there.
I do too.
without this
Yeah.
variance.
Yeah.
Well, Jack and Jill situation, right through the center.
And even if it couldn't, is another bathroom up there depriving them of some?
Right. They're
'Cause-
deciding,
'cause,
right,
by the way, this as of right addition they're doing over there is adding another bathroom.
right.
So these plans add a bathroom and a half.
Mhm.
And that they can do. They don't need us to
Right.
do anything. So that's adding a bathroom. So now you got 2, they said 2.5, so now you have 3.5 bathrooms. This is the second half bathroom.
I mean, I just didn't see anything in the plans that justified the dormer on the 2nd floor. I mean, the one addition, the addition that's as of right,
Well,
that's
the
fine.
dormer on the 2nd floor is because they want to move their laundry is probably in, I don't know, is there a basement here? But they're moving, it looks like they're moving their laundry upstairs.
Okay, I'm still
I would
confused.
love my laundry upstairs
Yeah, I'd
also,
like
but
that too, but
I
that's
can't
not a
get
hardship.
there. Yeah. I don't.
I mean, I could probably see giving on that one, on the 2nd floor addition.
I just think that there was so much going on here, and we're gonna start picking and choosing for them what
No,
to
I think
approve.
that's the
and-
problem.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't really wanna do that.
I mean, I think the requests on the
And-
house just are not clear.
And what's the rule if this is a no, can they come back
Sure.
and represent it?
Yeah,
Different plans.
new
They-
plans.
They could come back right away if they make some significant adjustment.
To the application.
They need 6 months if they want to present the same thing.
Okay,
But sure, they have plenty of time to reconsider.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's done.
okay.
Commonly when there are denials, frankly, people
Make,
revisit.
Yeah.
And often they make it work.
Well, can we separate out the garage issue? Do you guys want to talk about the garage?
I'm actually less I thought I'd be troubled by the garage. I'm less troubled by the garage. I mean, they're moving.
They can put it
they're
somewhere else, though,
repos-
Gary.
They could,
It can
but
go
it's
in the
literally a
yard.
1.5 feet.
Well, so the neighbor immediately adjacent to the garage is fine with it.
Right.
But I like Jana, I liked your comment about, well, that could be yard. I mean, it's not a big space, but right now, the way it looks, like you drive into the garage, it looks like the street dead ends into the garage. It's goofy. I mean, it should be turned. Well, okay,
I
that-
think,
right.
but I think what happened, and Gary and I were looking at it, is to put the driveway in, if you put the garage behind the house, then you really don't have the yard because you're using up that
Paving
space
the
for the
whole
driveway.
space.
But
Yeah, but that's what
that's
what yards are
yeah.
for. In many cases, that's.
I mean,
I
having
can,
green space is
I
not a
can
hardship.
appreciate the need to have the yard.
Yeah.
get it.
I
You can
struggle with
go
completely
there,
taking
but
away a yard.
I'm sure they've got some kids running around. I can appreciate that. I just think that, not to make it easy on us.
Yeah, I don't love the fact though that this is basically a blind turn with their driveway
I know,
is.
but we're not changing Academy Street.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but
No,
again, this is the issue. Like, if there's an opportunity to make something safer,
Right.
this is a non-conforming garage, Gary. I mean, if they want to touch that thing, technically, we should make
But
them
are
tear it
we-
down and move it.
Well, they're basically
But I'm not
going
sure
to.
we're making it, I don't know.
You don't think,
The kids can play where the garage was, right? I mean, you don't necessarily want that too, so.
Well, then you
Rather
can't
than
see
playing
them
in front.
from your house. I could go down the rabbit hole with that one.
Yeah.
I think what I don't love about it, and that's where I should have continued driving and I should have driven from it the other direction. But that does seem like, if it dead ended, I wouldn't take issue with it.
I know.
It doesn't dead end.
I drove around a few times.
You
Like,
did?
It's pretty, like, it's not a through street.
Okay.
Like, it's not,
Bless you.
people aren't cutting around. It's fairly, like, I don't know,
Quiet. It's not
Quiet,
a-
yeah, it's not a busy
Yeah.
Okay.
thing.
I live right there. I see this every day.
Do you have the, sort of the assessor map of the neighborhood, I think, copy?
Yeah.
I think there's quite a few more houses beyond this one on Academy.
Oh, around the back of Academy, there's a bunch, yes.
I seem to think there's like 6 or 7.
I don't know what to do with
Oh,
it.
I see it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, go back to that orange thing. Oh, maybe, yes. So see if you go, where is it here?
Yeah.
So behind it, there's this whole neighborhood. But most people don't go down this way. They come down this street.
They come down Fairview?
Yes.
Yeah, it connects through to,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean-
not a dead end. It just is another way to get there.
and Fairview keeps on going.
I'm there every day. That is my street. I live like on the post road right there, so I go through there every day. It is below traffic. I don't love it, but I just more think like, technically, if you can put the garage somewhere else, that's what you do. But I'd approve the garage, but, I mean, can we break this into 2 parts and do?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
We can do that.
Okay.
They're different.
Is there any part of the house that we want to approve, or do we want to have them come back with entirely new plans?
I think they gotta start it. They gotta come back with that one.
I agree.
I don't even know what to approve. I'm
I don't know.
confused on what
Yeah.
they're even asking.
I have to go back to the drawing that shows the different areas and highlighted which
So
ones
where would
were-
where would they put the garage?
Right.
Right here, right behind the house.
And then the
And then this
pavement would
becomes,
go.
but how do you get in and out of the garage? If you put it behind the house, you still have to be able to get out to the street. And then the architect's point was that then they're
So you're
staring at a
cutting-
garage.
So I don't care, well, they're staring at the garage.
I don't care about that.
Everyone stares at a detached garage.
Yeah.
But, so that the driveway would cut a line between your
It would take up the entire backyard.
side yard, backyard,
Yeah.
whatever this is.
Is this says accessory building setback lines.
Yeah,
Could
so
they
you-
put it all the way back
You can put it all the
here?
way in the corner.
So you could put it behind, but that's what they're saying, they don't want to have to make this a longer driveway. But you could do that, and then you'd still have yard here, and then you'd have yard over here.
Right, and you just have
But there's a
net,
hedge that,
and
I
you-
understand, like, there's a hedge there that they don't want to have to remove.
So you'd have this driveway here.
I mean, the garage is shot. I agree with that. I'm looking at it's shot. But I lived with a house with a 1926 garage, and my house on Christie Hill. We never tore it down because we knew if we tore it down, that thing was moving. You don't rebuild a non-conforming garage in the setback. I mean, they do have neighbor approval, but
I think historically, though, we've taken the stance that if you're rebuilding something, you're fixing, you're making better, we're going to give you the
I think we
variance
did a
that you would
garage
support.
recently
Right,
where
yeah.
we let that.
Yeah, that was earlier this year. Over on-
I think
There
there
was a
was
bit of
really,
a
I think there was
pitch.
nowhere else you could move it, though.
Because of the slope of the
Because of the way
ground.
that, yeah, there really wasn't. This one, they really do have the space for it. Aesthetic, like, you're still gonna be looking, I guess, then you'd be looking at a driveway instead of the
We
garage.
could just say no to everything and let them come back, and maybe they change it around, maybe they come back and ask the same
I
thing, but
agree.
there's no We don't have to
I'm okay.
force ourselves to
Okay.
make a decision on this
Okay.
I agree
if we're
with you.
not.
I know that's kind of where I'm leaning,
They're gonna
because I
have to
do see other
resubmit it.
options for that garage. I just feel like we haven't exhausted
I
that.
agree with you. I think that's the right.
I think also if they're listening to this, maybe having some kind of engineer come out and look at the garage and say, yeah, there's no reasonable restoration program that we can put in place to save this as it is, that would probably help with me.
And
Very
not
much
to,
so.
and not to be blunt about it, the architect needs to come back a little bit more prepared to answer these questions.
Yeah. We've talked about this as a board, that we can't be pulling out the details. So I will
Forget
make.
the second gentleman's name, but he was better.
Yeah, he did a return. So I'll make a motion to deny this application, all 5 components.
Second.
Done? All in favor
Of denial.
of the denial?
Denial.
All agreed. That's 5-0 in denial. Okay. All right. So we have some other issues to talk about, but one of the things, do we keep the camera rolling, Woody, or do we turn it off?
Keep it going.
Keep it going for this? It's up to you. Okay, let's do official business. Matt likes to be on camera. All right, other business.
His kids watching.
Kids watching? Well, actually, I know, people watch me
I can't tell you how
too.
many years.
Well, that's sad, Gary.
No,
Okay,
people-
first, do we have an approval of the minutes for the meeting of July 17th? I read those and approved them online. I think we're good with that. Do I have a motion to approve those? Matt, approve? Jana, second. All in favor? That's 5-0. Woody, to approve?
Yeah, probably 4.
4-0, okay. The 3-month extension for Lake Drive properties. What's the
Yeah.
issue there?
Once again, they have difficulty getting prices for things. It's a pretty big project. We're also in a flood
Which
zone.
one was this again?
I don't know what this
It
is.
was
Lake
pretty
Missed
much-
this
Drive.
one.
It was pretty much a makeover of the existing house. It was back in February, and I'm not sure which one of you guys was
But this is
sitting
their
with that.
first request.
It is.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
So, right, so we typically give them the first request, and then we challenge maybe the second. Okay, so yes, we're all in favor of that.
But
Do
is
you need-
3-month extension enough?
They claim yes.
Okay.
You could make it more, though, if you want to
I'd
not
hate
have
for
to
them to
listen
come
to them
back.
again.
Let's make it a
Give them 6
6-month
months.
extension.
Okay.
Okay,
You want to make a motion and all that?
I'll move to to approve their request but extend it to a 6-month.
Okay.
Jana,
Second.
second, and Matt's, all in favor? All,
All in
5-0. Application material item K regarding hardship.
No.
Yeah, I agree, Woody, I mean, we have talked about putting something together that explains to people what we're looking for so that they're more organized about it. I would love that. Past boards have been against that, and maybe Gary, you can offer some color on why we don't give more direction.
I don't know, well,
What?
I don't think it's easy, and I would almost want council to do it because you're really pulling from what the statutory and case law defines as hardship. I actually think our applicants, again, we have fewer applications than we've had in years. I think the applicants generally do a good job. Again, I haven't been here in every meeting this year, but I'm less frustrated, I think, because staff does a great job.
I
of,
agree.
one, limiting probably ridiculous requests. You know, they don't even come before us because people back out. And I think it's subject to judicial interpretation of what is a hardship. I mean, we could pull recent case law and put the definition in.
I'd
And
kind of
minimal
rather,
adjustment necessary also. It is and by the way, if
Yeah.
we pulled recent case law,
oof, I don't want to.
That's,
We are all
It's
over the
really
place with
limiting.
minimal adjustment,
it's really
yeah,
limiting.
yeah.
I think you suggested
On that
maybe
topic,
an
On
update.
variant, granting
basically,
variances. yeah.
we can't do it, like, it's,
Did you suggest an update maybe with town council? Did I hear that?
We could I'd rather have town council look at it than the board look at it and have them opine as to whether the application material should be updated to reflect the state of the law.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, materials, hardship maybe, minimum adjustment.
Mhm. Well, all of it.
So
really. I mean,
we could have a session.
Can we add another request to town council, have them opine on how the town, not necessarily this board, but how the town could do, address enforcement issues.
So that's a whole separate issue I want to talk about. We basically have no body of enforcement in Darien. So if we stipulate that someone does something and they don't do it, there's no enforcement.
Well, no, there
The
is.
zoning, I thought the zoning.
Well,
was-
P&Z
No, before you're right, before a CO is issued, building department should make sure that the stipulations are followed. Now, whether then,
That's not
what
happening.
happens 4 years down the road,
Wouldn't that be
You
our
don't know.
zoning enforcement officer? There's
Yeah.
his, I
Yes,
forget his name.
Hervey.
but they don't have,
Pass
yes,
these down.
but there's no, you could ignore it is the problem, but that's
Well,
town regs.
he has to sign off on a CO though, doesn't he?
Yeah,
But then after that, you're saying just go
Right.
back and change it or
What is this for?
whatever.
I'll
this is
explain,
this
yeah.
is Park Lane.
Yeah, so this is an example of what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is significant. I really think, I gotta say, I think there's a serious problem that's developed. This was a particular project where we have a corner safety regulation, actually, in our zoning regulations. It's intended to help make sure there's some rule about how high you can keep vegetation and fences on a corner. And in this particular case, we noted on the survey that was provided, the fence and the hedge that you can see in the photos. The board chose not to make it a condition of approval that they remedy the sight line on the corner. And that's where we get into trouble. There was, I believe there was an opinion stated that it's an enforcement thing and staff should be able to enforce stuff. But I gotta say, frankly, we have a terrible time enforcing a lot of things.
But I know, but as
Some
we
people
said,
don't want
this is not our issue. That town the town needs to change their regulations and give better enforcement power, whether it's through fines or whatever.
Mhm.
We can't do it.
So essentially,
Well,
what do you think,
right.
so is when stuff comes in front of us that we can correct, that's the opportunity to correct it. Not to punt it to P and Z,
It's
So
not
there was
P&Z.
no stipulation for anything at this front yard
no.
when we
In
did
terms
this?
of the sight line on the corner, correct, yeah. So I approached the owners and said, hey, we have a problem. It's clearly a violation of this one rule, and I need to remedy it. And they've objected, rather vociferously. I've gone to other town officials.
But wait a second. We often ask for givebacks on
Yes. Granted approval.
other things that are
Additional.
non-conformity in the building, whether it's a smaller, lower coverage or removal of a shed. I don't think vegetation on a corner should ever, I was on this hearing, I don't disagree with what we did. By the way, I lived here for 20 years, I never saw a car accident there.
That's what I was just about to ask. Was there an accident there? Like why?
So this is all not supposed to be there? Is that what the?
Well, you see,
Yeah, there's
but
a-
actually, you see the
Essentially,
way
there's
this,
a 3-foot rule.
I think the way this dips is probably right. And then there's other vegetation that blocks the view.
What's the 3-foot rule?
Basically, 3 foot above the adjacent pavement, you can have stuff. But above that, in a 30-foot triangle, which you can see depicted there, you're supposed to have an opening. In this case, it's complicated because of vehicles exiting Park Lane, not having the darn stop sign, and Holmes
but-
Avenue being a through street.
But
So
hold on,
here we are.
The stop sign wouldn't mean anything there. Because people kind of come out, no one blows out of either Rose or Park. Look, I do think the town needs better enforcement mechanism. I do not think it's the ZBA's role.
Is it a blight committee potentially?
No.
I mean, it's not blight, but like that's what they do is they find people when they
Do
have
they?
properties that are not in like good repair. So
We have that. We have a blight,
Yeah, they do it all the time. Like, it's
So
like
maybe
$100
you
a
add
day.
a
In some
power to
cases,
the
it's
blight
It's
committee.
like they're not taking care of like their vegetation.
It would be preferable to have some enforcement mechanism for various things. For us, I think the issue is when we get a project and a survey is submitted, and we find out that there's an unpermitted shed, there's a fence that's not supposed to be there or whatever. In the past, we've had, let's say, inconsistent stipulations on whether we get a fence moved or not, a shed replaced or not. It would be good to develop a more solid way of dealing with that, because people are essentially expanding their property rights. And they get a variance that's approved by the board. So theory is they should remedy the things that they're not permitted to have and fix violations. Chuck DeLuca, a former ZBA member, was pretty adamant about that and promoted that, I think, regularly. So that's one question that maybe we could ask town council when we get an application, because I hear almost every day from people who say, oh, I got this thing on my survey. You know, the Planning and Zoning Commission saw it. I went to the Wetlands Agency. Why didn't they tell me I had to do something or move something? It must be approved, even though there was never a real approval. So people assume things that, and frankly, there's some people that just want to have a little more.
So I think the power should rest with the zoning enforcement officer. And they should, or maybe with the blight committee. And then if someone appeals that decision, maybe that comes to the ZBA. But
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that's within our, again, we can grant a variance in exchange for someone backing off or removing a shed or doing some improvement of a nonconformity. I don't know that the vegetation is the same type of nonconformity, but.
Yeah, or a fence. So what I was told was that if the board stipulates that something like this needs to be fixed, then it will be. And they won't get a construction permit unless they do. But without that, we'd have to base it on a neighbor complaining that, gee, there's a vegetation problem. And that does come up probably once a month. People do ask about problems seeing out of a driveway or a corner or something else.
So are you saying there are cases where we stipulate something is to happen and it does not?
No, there's a, if we were to.
If we were to, then
They
it has,
It would be
yeah.
my question.
So then there's no enforcement, it falls on ZEO.
They won't, no, they won't give the CO.
Right,
And they won't get a construction permit. If you state that before you get a construction permit,
you have to
you gotta
do,
fix
yes.
your encroachment, nonconformity, whatever the heck it is.
And
Thank God, sometimes that's been done.
Yep.
And boy, is that simple and easy, and homeowners understand they got a big benefit from the approval. Now they gotta make good on something that they got away with for a long time, frankly, or, but I usually have arguments when we don't have that stipulation. When we try to enforce something that's encroaching or unpermitted, and it hasn't been a
So,
condition.
can you get opinion on, from council on whether we can stipulate things are kind of outside of the normal consideration of a zoning board?
Well, and what are the consequences if you ignore, if you're silent about something?
But, fine.
I don't think I want any liability. for
Yeah, fine, I
things.
mean, we have no consequences.
Well, I mean, it's where, like, if you have financial penalties, right, if you fine people for,
Right.
when they're in violation, like, that's a pretty good.
I'm with Matt, that's what other towns do.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's-
But the town needs to make that change.
Right.
Yeah, not us, correct.
So where we kind of left off is I was thinking I would go to,
So someone's gonna go around, some official is gonna go around to every property and say, these bushes here are out of conformance, here's your fine
No,
starting a month from now?
in
it's too
general-
labor intensive, yeah.
In general, we've handled that on a complaint basis. Somebody calls up and
Right.
says, geez, it's gotten so overgrown in that corner, I can't
Someone's
see.
gonna get pissed that they get
But-
called on, then all of a sudden, they're gonna stop, like.
But that's a.
or if there's an accident at Park Lane, then they're willing to revisit it.
Yeah, I remember a school bus driver one time called in and said, geez, that corner over there is terrible. And we do have a person in Public Works that does help a lot with getting stuff cut back out of the right of way. And defining
out
where
of
the
the right of
property
way,
line is a
right.
challenge sometimes. So the issue, I think, for us is we get surveys that clearly depict stuff. Well, what do we do with them? If we ignore them, is that bad? If we try to fix them, how do we do it with some teeth?
Yeah, Gary's right, though, we can't just run around fixing things we come across. It has to be
I think it has to be related to.
to the
an
project
to an
we're looking at.
application, right.
But I do agree, Woody, I think maybe we've gotten lax about it. I think, I mean, in boards past, I think you guys did an outstanding job of saying, we'll grant this if you remove this. The net of it always came more into compliance.
But, right, of the zoning regulations.
Within the zoning
This-
regulations.
This issue is a zoning issue?
Yeah, it's just, it's copied in that set of plans there, the actual zoning reg. You might want to read it, yeah. And it was put in place
I guess the height is.
by our commission a long time ago.
Yeah.
for this very reason, to have
I've
some
read these code.
official someplace able to address on the private property something that's causing, I'll call it a hazard, but a safety thing.
So where we blew it is we all approved this project. We should have stipulated that they cut the bushes back to 3 feet. I was okay with it at the time too.
I don't remember
I
this.
think it would look terrible.
It's a safety issue, John.
I got you.
It's a troubled
Yes.
property.
It's Kevin's old house, remember? Fullington lived there?
Right.
That's what we
Oh,
talked about?
that's
Yeah.
right.
He actually planted the bushes.
We'll have to ask
Just
him.
kidding, everyone.
But I guess your
So I think it could be
point's well taken, that as we go down, if there's a chance to bring something more to compliance, if there's a fence,
Right.
it's not where it should be. You know, it's out of respect for the neighbors. It's a chance to get these things more in line. We should stipulate that more clearly. I can do a better job of that. But I also think, Woody, I'm happy to talk to Zagrodsky. I've talked to Liz and Steve Olvany about that, proposing a fine
Yeah.
system.
Yeah. So I like the idea of, maybe we ask for town council to.
Yeah,
have a
and
special
then it should
session.
go to
This could
other
be-
powers,
This
actually.
could be one of several things.
Every rival in town is gonna go with a copy of the zoning regulations,
Yeah.
looking at people's property and calling in.
You think?
No,
I don't think
I don't think so.
It
Not
gets-
likely.
Neighbors get snippy.
But keep in mind, I mean, the overall goal of zoning, and it's pretty fundamental in all the treatises, is you want everything in town, every single property to be totally conforming with the rules, with the regulations that have been adopted by your elected representatives. That's the big picture goal.
Then the
And
elected
little by little,
then the
little
elected
by little.
representatives should create an enforcement mechanism.
I do think that's true.
Okay.
Construction.
All right, thank you.
Please start
All
with
right.
that.
All right, is that it for other business?
Yeah, unless you guys have something else.
Anybody else have anything? Wow. Okay, I never called the meeting to order at 7:37.
It's okay, we're still in,
So
in meeting.
the meeting did come to order at 7:37 PM.
39, somewhere around there.
Somewhere in there? Okay, I apologize. Oh my God, I'm so
If you want
bad.
to adjourn, somebody. can
So
do
we're
that.
gonna adjourn at 9:07
I'll move to
PM.
adjourn
I
at
moved
9:00
to adjourn.
I will move to adjourn at 9:07.
Okay, I'll
I'll help
second
you
that
out.
motion. All in
favor?
favor? Aye.
All right.
Thanks, Gary. Gary.